Hi everyone, welcome to the GatherVerse Africa Summit. I'm Alice Anangi, founder and CEO of Crypsense Digital Group, the first and fastest growing institutional grade digital assets financial literacy, capacity building and management platform in Africa. It's a very exciting time for us today as we are launching our Just a Crypod podcast, and I'm here with my host Farid Kamani.
Okay, great, Alice. Thanks. That was a nice introduction. You said a lot of things there, which we're going to obviously break down in this podcast. I think it's really important, first of all, as we are here at GatherVerse, which is super exciting as well, which I found out about from you. So I'm super excited to launch the podcast here as well. But I think we need to go back a little bit and explain a little bit about yourself and Crypsense. And I think one of the first things I want to ask is, why is it so important for you to be a woman in tech representing? I know you represent everyone, but really, just by default, because you're a woman, you're representing an entire generation of women in tech heading towards Web 3.0.
Frankly speaking, Farid, being a woman in tech has come with its own challenges. Honestly speaking, you're always in the minority group all through school. Yeah, being good in maths, we know there is a huge gender gap in as far as males and females are concerned in tech-driven careers and subjects. So it has come with its challenges, but mine is to actually encourage every girl child that is there to understand that this is a space that women also fit in. So with the proper support and people gathering together in order to actually appreciate and acknowledge that women can actually take STEM-related courses and at the same time they can actually succeed in the technology space, it's something that actually drives me every morning. And I'm glad that at this point where I'm at, my voice is actually heard, and people actually seek for my opinion and people actually appreciate that I'm a woman in tech and especially in the emerging technology sector.
And I think that's what we have to talk about is obviously, just saying I'm a woman or I'm a person in tech has changed dramatically in the course of the last, say, 2-3 years, because we're sort of barreling towards Web 3.0. And that's a whole different world, really. It's the next step, the next level. Why is Web 3.0 such an important fundamental learning need for not just women in tech, but tech developers and engineers in general? And what solutions is Web 3.0 solving, and by and large, Crypsense?
When we look at Web3, it's actually referred to as the new internet, which is more distributed. If we look at the past and how, the internet has functioned and also the World Wide Web as we know it, all these structures are governed through centralized organizations, yeah? So we come to realize that it's all about capitalism. Most of these institutions use your data without your proper authority to make billions. At the end of it all, where does that leave you as a user? Because value is not given back to you, yeah? So we have multiple platforms that are doing this. This has happened in the past. And now Web3 comes to disrupt that, because now this is a distributed technology that actually values the user and gives the power back to the user. There are multiple use cases that I can be able to mention that correspond to this, but this, at the end of it all, is the real value of Web 3.0.
Let's talk about Crypsense now, because Crypsense is also really a Web 3.0 organization or a Web 3.0 solution or a Web 3.0 gaming platform, whatever you want to call it. So what can Crypsense do for me now if I'm the consumer of your product in the space of Web 3.0?
So now, one way I'd like to look at it is, let's look at the challenges that have actually been experienced in Africa. Hugest population of youth in the whole world. Unfortunately, this youth is frustrated, we have situations where people actually go through school, get degrees, but are not employed. So there's a huge unemployment rate in as far as the economy in Africa is concerned. All this is very troubling, And something good about Web3, it actually creates a level playing field where all this can actually be disrupted, where people are actually given equal opportunities to onboard and to actually create their own paths within the Web3 ecosystem that can give access to sustainable sustainability, quality education can give people ways to actually hedge against inflation, to protect their assets. At the end of it all, create new career opportunities. So this is the value that I see Web3 brings to Africa, and actually see Africa, coming in place as a game changer, because problems are actually solved in Africa from the ground up right now as we speak.
And you talk about this level playing field. Africa's always looked at, and other parts of the world as well. We can look at India, we can look at other sort of South America, these kind of countries that kind of have similar sort of economic and infrastructural challenges. So we constantly in the past, if you look at other industrial revolutions, we were always being left behind because of manpower, brain power, brain drain. The smartest of us were going somewhere else. What you're saying is Web 3.0 puts everyone at the same place.
Exactly.
And technically, Africa's time could be with technology through Web 3.0, through blockchain, and through digital assets.
Yes, exactly. Africa's time is actually now.
And it's happening.
And
you're poised to be the one of the faces of that, I think, which is really cool. Crypsense obviously giving, I don't want to say young, anyone, if they join the academy, a chance to what you call the LPEP platform, Learn, Play, Earn platform. How does that work? What are we doing in order to, from a beginner's level all the way up to someone who's advanced? What is Crypsense doing to create this workforce of people earning as they're playing a game and learning about Web 3.0, blockchain, and digital asset trading?
So we look at it from, a complete entry level, because this problem has actually been there. And it's not just in Web3, it's there in technology, where I've been privileged enough to work with multiple teams, especially being in technology and having to present new technology solutions to clients. You have to interact with multiple teams, from marketing, from supply chain, from project management, and all these teams end up mentioning one particular problem, which is, can you please make it simple for me? Can you make it easy for me to understand this type of technology? So Crypsense actually came here to solve that problem that is obviously there, where we need to actually be able to break down technologies, and huge technological terms. As we know, techies, we might find it very easy because we live in a bubble where we communicate in that language every day. But for everyone else,
I think that's actually the problem,
yes,
because we tend to think that if we're talking like this, everyone should understand. But we're a very small part of the population. Actually, I'm part of the larger population. I had limited understanding, not like yourself, but I've been in meetings with you guys, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you've simplified that for people like myself and people with even less knowledge.
Yes, exactly. So that is our vision, actually, to be able to empower each and every single person. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your age, your race, what you do for a living. We make it so simple for you. If you can't explain something to basically a 5-year-old, then you're not doing your job right. Yeah. So we look at it from someone who completely doesn't understand anything about blockchain and Web3, and we introduce them to these simple terms that make it easy for them to understand. And the most interesting thing about our platform is we've actually gamified the tests. Yeah. So we've turned the tests into a game. Yeah. In that even the young generation, the youth actually enjoy, because we know what is happening with the youth right now and gaming. Yeah. They spend a lot of time online and they engage with multiple gaming platforms in ways that are fun and easy for them. So we've actually bring that fun and gamification into the learning process. So we've turned the coursework into a game, and you manage to actually answer simple questions. And in that, it's as though you're playing a game and you earn rewards at the same time.
So you may not even realize you're learning as you learn.
Exactly.
And you're earning
and
as
you're
well.
earning, yes.
And you guys are launching or have launched a token?
Yes.
So how does that work?
So we have first the STAR utility token, which is the Student Teacher Academic Resource System, which is our utility token, which is what you earn as you play the game, right? And then now we have the Crypsense Digital Group Token, which governs now all the different business models that we have under Crypsense. So as you progress through your learning journey, you actually accumulate STAR reward tokens. And these tokens are like vouchers. You can either be able to convert them to scholarships and actually learn new courses within our ecosystem. You can convert them to game rewards. You can be able to convert them to token rewards, different token partners who are within our ecosystem, who have actually contributed to the content of teaching. And at the same time, we also airdrop you through NFTs, stable coins, so this star token ecosystem can be converted to actually, assets that are of value to you. And at the same time, also through stable coins, you can be able to convert that to fiat.
And of course, if you're a, ambitious individual, you can also end up working not just for Crypsense in what you do, but also other companies around the world. You're giving access to jobs, and you mentioned it before: race, color, economic stature, demographic, whatever, doesn't matter. Anyone can join, and anyone can play, and anyone can and earn money. And I think that's, for me, is really the big part about it. Let's talk a little bit about immersive learning platforms on the metaverse, and us as users of the platform having an immersive journey. What does that all mean?
I'd like to think of the metaverse as, a platform where everyone is connected in the world, right? It's this virtual, immersive world where you can have interactions with anyone and everyone in the world as though it's in real time, right? So we have this new concept of the Learnoverse, which is now education moved to the metaverse, And the beauty about the metaverse, it actually thins the line between education and gamification, because as we know it prior, look at all the platforms where even the young generation and kids have been playing through, games with avatars, and they perform certain tasks and they earn certain rewards. Now that is what the metaverse actually brings to the Web3 ecosystem. Now imagine learning on the metaverse, You're learning, you're in school, you're interacting with professionals, you're interacting with, teachers, content creators, you're interacting with, this economy that has actually built infrastructure on the blockchain, and they're empowering other people. And at the same time, you're earning rewards. You're not even realizing that, I'm in the learning process, but at the end of it all, you're actually empowering yourself. You're actually creating opportunities for yourself to be able to work in the virtual immersive world, and at the same time you're earning, right? And as I explained to you before, the rewards that you're earning can be either converted to courses, they can be converted to scholarships where you can get placement, you can convert them to assets where you can be able to cash out and actually earn a living for yourself and provide for your family.
And I think that, again, the ability to learn, because, university in the old sense is you study, then if you're lucky, you get a job, and then you earn money. What you're saying is, as you study, as you learn, you're also earning money, which is a massive thing, because, many young people are very disenfranchised, and you see the joblessness across Africa or other emerging markets, and they think, well, what's the point of going to university if I'm not going to get a job? You're giving them the opportunity to learn and earn at the same time. There's a lot of discredibility, I should say, amongst exchanges and digital asset trading because of a company called FTX, and a lot of scams out there. I feel that where you are in what you're doing as an industry is constantly being scrutinized by, is this thing legit? Is it not legit? Should I invest in this? Should I sign up for this? Am I going to make money? Am I going to lose money, et cetera, et cetera? Was FTX an anomaly, or is it something we should be looking out for? And how is Crypsense different?
Well, the truth of the matter is FTX was actually a very legit platform. What is coming out right now and what we are realizing is the fact that there was lack of proper governance within that institution, And it becomes very alarming when you actually realize top institutions, top crypto hedge funds, even regulators were actually working with this platform. But at the end of it all, when you scrutinize and do a lot of research, none of us actually knows exactly what happens on that platform, right? But when you scrutinize and do a bit of research, you actually come to realize that out of all these institutions that actually invested and supported this ecosystem, none of them actually thought to ask of a board of governors. Just because you're a good techie and you can build, a scalable solution and, very disruptive and impactful solution doesn't mean that you have all the skills that are required in as far as, finance is concerned, as far as economics is concerned, accounting is concerned, auditing.
Checks and balances,
checks and balances, exactly. That's exactly what happened to the platform.
My question would be then, because everywhere we look, there's a different platform coming out, or this one is, someone is saying I made money on this platform. And as I said, the scrutinization now in your industry as well. Are there going to be more FTX type stories coming out? I think that's the big fear people are having. I'm, you know, and you can obviously talk about Crypsense because I know you're a different organization. You're extremely, what's the word, transparent of an organization. The scrutiny now on the crypto world, the value of crypto or digital assets, all of this being affected by one organization. Granted, it was a massive organization that fell apart like almost, I think it was almost overnight or over a weekend. But how do you convince me, the general audience, that, hey, hold on, this is not going to happen to us?
What I can say actually is, as much as FTX may have taken now institutional investors like, you know, 5 to 10 years back in as far as having lack of proper policies are concerned, while Crypsense actually happens to be a bit different. There's some silver lining and good news as to what happened in the whole FTX saga. This is the fact that now regulators have to actually get their stuff together, you know, and actually come and now, you know, lobby and work together in putting regulatory policies together, which is what we've always been singing from the moment we actually started Crypsense, is we are open to working with regulators. Regulation is actually good in this space, yeah, because at the end of it all, I told you, you can't be a jack of all trades, right? You can be a good techie, you can build a very good solution on Web3, but at the end of it all, it doesn't mean that you have all the skills and you are empowered enough to actually scale it and have proper policies in place that actually protects users and investors, yeah? So at Crypsense, we actually are at the forefront of working with regulatory institutions, at the same time making sure that we have proper policies in place and we have a transparent ecosystem where people can actually be able to track, you know, and follow our steps in as far as now working with regulators, with, you know, governments and with different experts in as far as the different aspects of the digital ecosystem, especially digital asset ecosystem, is concerned.
And I think that, as you said, that because it's such a new industry, I mean, really, you know, the whole digital asset, blockchain, Web 3.0 world is almost brand new. So you guys are obviously learning day to day because the changes are so, you know, so quick. What we may forget is that you also have to run as a business. So there's an old school way of running a business, which still has to be there, which you talk about the structures, the board of governors, the proper financial model, etc. And then every day you're learning something new in the space. So what you're saying is you have to combine the two, which is what Crypsense has done. And from my experience and working with Crypsense over the course of the last 6 to 8 months, I've seen that you guys are an incredible organization. And it's super exciting to launch the Just the CrypPod podcast. It's really hard to say, Just the CrypPod podcast here at GatherVerse.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you, Chris, for actually allowing Crypsense to be part of the GatherVerse Africa Summit. I hope you actually enjoyed this session, our first Just a CrypPod podcast. And I hope that you've actually learned a thing or two. And please feel free to actually join our community through our Discord channel, you know, like us on YouTube and follow us on all our socials.